Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is, of course, Cameron. There you go, Conor Coady has signed for Everton Football Club on a season-long loan from Wolverhampton Wanderers. The England international has completed his move to Everton this evening, and as I said, he will join on an initial season-long loan, and I believe there is an option to buy at the end of said loan. However, it isn't quite confirmed how much that option will be. Some numbers floating around within the region of £15 million, €15 million, but of course that hasn't been confirmed by the club. But the news that we were all waiting for, we didn't know whether we were going to get this announcement today, whether it was going to be a double announcement with Amadou Onana. It hasn't been. However, as I said earlier on this afternoon, I am absolutely over the moon that we've managed to get this one over the line. Conor Coady, for me, is an absolutely fabulous signing on loan. As I said, he comes in, he brings consistency, he brings leadership, he brings, a top quality centre-back that can step in there and very certainly do a job for Frank Lampard over the coming months of the Premier League season. And he comes with very little financial ramifications whatsoever. He's coming in on an initial loan. If he doesn't impress within the season, then Everton obviously can send him back to Wolves with no problem whatsoever. If he does, then there's an option there to bring him in on a permanent transfer. The England international has said, I'll give absolutely everything every day for this football club. I feel privileged and lucky to be given this opportunity. He admitted that he was desperate to complete the move to Goodison Park. He says, I'll try and talk and communicate as much as possible and prepare right for what's to come at the weekend, because the most important thing for this club is winning games. We want to be sure we're going out to make supporters happy and by improving the club at the same time. I'm someone who was desperate to come here to play for this football club. I know how big it is, and I know the passion people have for Everton. It is an important day and a proud day for me to get this over the line. He was asked about Frank Lampard and obviously his conversations with Frank Lampard. He said, he's one of the greatest English players of all time. The first conversation I had with him was a bit surreal. One of the greatest midfielders of all time. It's probably one of the best phone calls I've ever had. Listening to the way he speaks about Everton, the passion he has for the club and the city, and how he wants to improve was just amazing to hear. I'll be honest with you, I had goosebumps talking to him. He was obviously then asked about Kevin Thelwell, because he knew of Kevin Thelwell from his time at Wolves. He said, Kevin understands me as a player and knows what I bring. He knows the type of person I am, and the conversations I've had with him were just fantastic. I just felt so comfortable when talking about Everton with him. I think that is what he does, and that is what is so good about the manager as well. They make you feel comfortable in their presence. He said, I watched all of the videos of the supporters outside the ground. There would be a moment where you'd think, wow, imagine being part of that. You feel it when you come and play at Goodison as well. You know that when they get up behind the team, it's giving the home side a real advantage. I want to be part of that, enjoy that, and take that in my stride. Conor Coady also, which we spoke about this before, remarkable record of playing 196 of Wolves' 198 matches over the last 5 seasons. So he's missed 2 matches over the last 5 seasons, playing 196 out of 198. Now, we talk about consistency, we talk about reliability, we talk about needing a centre-back that we know is going to be there week in, week out. As I said earlier, given at least a 7, 8 out of 10 performance week in, week out. That is what you get with Conor Coady. You get very similar with James Tarkowski, and you get the same with Conor Coady. 196 of 198 games. 2 games he's missed in 5 seasons. Can you imagine how important that will be for Frank Lampard in building a side, knowing that he's got somebody there that is so reliable, somebody that he knows will be there week in, week out. The 2 games that he missed over the past 5 years were through suspension and having to quarantine after coming in contact with someone who had contracted COVID-19. So not even an injury, a suspension and a COVID-19 quarantine issue, so not even an injury. He said, I think the biggest thing about playing football is trying to make sure you are ready for every single game. I know injuries occur and things happen for certain players. I had to miss one with COVID and I was absolutely raging at one point. It was one of the worst days of my life because I missed the game of my life. It was horrendous. I don't believe in wasting a day in football. Our careers are very, very short. If you waste a day, you fall behind. He was then asked about the World Cup, obviously, with it being a World Cup year. He said, the World Cup is something every English player wants to be a part of, but all I want to do at the minute is be a part of Everton Football Club. The only thought on my mind is trying to help this club and make it better. And then this is the real sort of, this bit here is the bit that if it hasn't already grasped yet, if you're not already convinced that Conor Coady will is a good signing and Conor Coady wants to be it and Conor Coady wants to work hard for Everton Football Club. If you're not already happy with this signing, then let me just read this out to you. He finishes his interview by saying, "My little boy, who is 5 years old, trains here at Finch Farm every week. He loves Everton. He loves everything about the football club. He was running up and down the back room when I told him I was signing here. It's a proud day for my family. I give my all every single day I come here." I read that quote before on Twitter and I was just like, yeah, this fella's boss. This fella is absolutely boss. He's consistent. He's reliable. As I said earlier, he's a 7, 8 out of 10 every single week. He's a leader. He commands. He communicates. He talks. And his kid's an Evertonian. And I know there was a bit of rumours around him being a Liverpool fan and this, that and the other. There's been some pictures floating around social media today of him as a young child in Everton gear and stuff. So, listen, who knows who he supports? Does it even really matter? No, it doesn't. What matters is that interview is very clearly him coming out and saying, listen, rest assured, I will give everything. He says in the first sentence, I will give absolutely everything for this football club. And, we can sit here and say, oh, well, of course he's going to say that because that's what players say and this, that and the other. But the reality is, his stats speak for themselves. We're talking about a fella who's only missed 2 games in the last 5 years, 196 out of 198 games. And I'm not jinxing it because he says himself he missed 1 game because of COVID and he was absolutely fuming. It was one of the worst days of his life. That's the type of mentality you want to have. You don't want to have players, and which we've had in the past, by the way, and we've just got rid of a couple. One I can think of off the top of my head in the summer who didn't want to play football, wanted to turn up at Finch Farm, earn their money, make a bit of money, train every couple of days, and then when it got to a match, they say, "Oh, I'm feeling a little bit of an, I'm feeling a little bit of a tear in my sock here, or I'm feeling a little bit of, bit of tightness in my ankle, or something like that." They weren't interested in playing football. They were just there to make your money, mercenaries, and then wanting to get off. Conor Coady is the type of footballer who, as he says himself, if he's not playing football, he's furious at why he isn't playing football, and that isn't just something that he says. That's proven by the fact that he's played 196 of 198 games. There'll have been games where he felt ill. There'll have been games where he felt tight, where he had maybe a little niggle, a little injury, a little problem, but he powered through it. And that's the type of mentality that you want. That's the mentality of a leader. That's the mentality of a captain. That's the mentality of a player who isn't going to be stopped by a little injury or a little problem. He will power through it. Obviously, if he's injured, he's injured, but as he says there, when he's coming out and saying things like, I'll give absolutely everything for this football club and, I'll work every single day to do the best. Sometimes you can listen to all of that and think, oh, that's a soundbite. That's just somebody saying something to try and make us feel good. But it's backed up by his statistics. And I don't necessarily think that's an Everton thing. It's not I'm going to give absolutely everything for Everton and I haven't done it in the past. That's just Conor Coady as a footballer. Conor Coady as a human being. He will give absolutely everything, and that's why he'll be so important to this Everton team. He will wear the number 30. I suppose that's a bit of news that we can talk about. He will wear the number 30 at Everton Football Club. Obviously, he signs on an initial loan. And with an option to buy, not an obligation to buy. Everton's statement reads, England international Conor Coady has signed for Everton from Wolverhampton Wanderers on a season-long loan. The 29-year-old will wear the number 30 shirt for the Blues in the club's 4th signing of the summer after the arrivals of centre-back James Tarkowski, former Wolves teammate Ruben Vinagre, of course, and forward Dwight McNeil. Born in Merseyside, Coady captained Wolves for the past 4 seasons and was a hugely influential figure both on and off the pitch for the West Midlands club. And then it goes on to talk about Conor Coady and his relationship with Kevin Thirlwell, he says it's incredible to join Everton. As soon as I heard the incest from the manager, but also the football club itself, I really wanted to be a part of it straight away. I'm over the moon to join. I've grown up around the city. I know the football club, how big this club is, and what it means to the supporters. I'm someone who was desperate to come here to play for this football club. I've got family and friends who are massive Evertonians. I'm here to give absolutely everything I've got for this football club. It's important I work hard as hard as I can, to help my teammates and help move this club forward and make people proud. So, you know, ultimately it's, again, all very, very positive things that he's saying, but I don't feel like this is just sound bites. You know, sometimes you can listen to these types of interviews and think, oh yeah, they're just a really, you know, well-trained, media-trained footballer who knows what to say, knows what not to say. I don't feel like this is the case with Conor Coady. I feel like it's genuine. I really, really do. And that might just be because he's a new signing and he's pulled at my heartstrings a little bit with you know, the quote about his young lad. And by the way, if anybody from Everton is watching, we need a picture of Conor Coady and his lad, both in Everton gear, both smiling, both absolutely made up, because that'll just send people over the edge, that, mate. I'll be in tears. I'll be in absolute tears. But I just feel like it's genuine. I just feel like he means it. He's being genuinely, you know, genuine about what he's saying. And when you look at the reaction from Wolves fans and people in the media surrounding Wolverhampton Wanderers, you know, we had a couple of Wolves fans on our live stream earlier on today, and a lot of them are really, really disappointed to lose Conor Coady. A lot of them are really, really frustrated. I've seen a couple of articles from some Wolves journalists then who were saying, I don't really understand why he's being let go. He's been absolutely fantastic. Everybody associated with Wolves, you know, none of them have got a bad word to say about him. His attitude, his desire, his commitment, his effort. And as I said, Wolves fans themselves seem very, very frustrated at the fact that their club has allowed this transfer to happen. You know, it's not one of them where, you know, fans of the opposition club are saying, yeah, you can have him, he's not very good. They seem very frustrated. This ultimately, at the end of the day, they've just lost their captain, who's been their captain for the last 5 years and has only missed 2 games in that period of time. So, and is still only relatively young for a centre half. So, yes, it's a bit mad as to why Wolves have allowed him to leave, but it's very, very clear that Conor Coady was desperate to come to Everton Football Club. For whatever reason he had to leave Wolves is irrelevant to us as Evertonians. The point is that he wants to be here, and as he says, he will give absolutely everything. And now what we've got is 2 really, really, really solid, consistent, reliable centre halves in a back 5. And okay, the other one will be Mason Holgate or Michael Keane, but as I said earlier, if Mason Holgate or Michael Keane can't improve as defenders, you know, playing next to 2 really, really solid Premier League experienced centre halves, then I don't really know how they're going to improve, to be perfectly honest with you. And then you've got Ben Godfrey to come back when he returns from injury, and then you've got Yerry Mina to come back when he returns from injury if he's still at the football club. I just think this is a really, really, really smart move by Frank Lampard and Kevin Thirlwell, bringing in an experienced defender who's reliable, little to no injury issues in his career, but also understands how to play the way Frank Lampard wants to play, how to defend in the way Frank Lampard wants to defend. And that for me is, I don't see how we can really have a problem with this. You know, from what I've gauged from Evertonians already. By the way, if you are enjoying this, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. That would be absolutely unbelievable. I think we've got something like 50 subscribers over the last day, which is just mental stuff. We had like 350 people watching earlier, which is just crazy. It's what was I gonna say then? I've just absolutely lost my head. Yeah, I've got absolutely no problem with Frank Lampard bringing in players to suit the system that he ultimately wants to play, and I think Conor Coady on loan and James Tarkowski are 2 really, 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 really solid defenders, and 2 defenders that ultimately will improve Everton massively, in my opinion, absolutely massively. And that was what I was going to say. I think the only thing I can sort of engage at the moment in terms of people maybe not being too happy about this was his connection with Liverpool Football Club. I don't think I've seen one Evertonian who genuinely didn't want Conor Coady because they didn't think he was good enough or they didn't think he improved us. It was more the Liverpool connection. Well, you know, he's, again, obviously he hasn't mentioned that himself and he hasn't directly come out and said, I'm an Evertonian, I've always been an Evertonian. But, you know, I think coming out and telling everybody that his young lad is a blue and loves this football club and was absolutely made up, I think is enough to tell us that Liverpool Football Club aren't even in Conor Coady's mind, and how successful he is at Everton is obviously on him. And if he makes a good impression and we make a good impression on him, then he might even be an Everton player permanently come the summer. But for me, I think this is a very, 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 very good signing. We needed another defender. It's absolutely as simple as that. It's as simple put as that. We needed the new defender after obviously what happened on the weekend. We could not have gone into this Premier League season knowing now. Obviously, we had the update earlier on today that Ben Godfrey is out for around 3 months with his injury. In fact, we will run through that update now, just while we are here, because I don't think we we spoke about it on the last stream. So Ben Godfrey underwent successful surgery this morning on the fractured fibula he sustained during Saturday's Premier League opener against Chelsea. The defender will now begin rehabilitation at Finch Farm under the care of the club's medical team and is expected to be out for around 3 months. Meanwhile, Yerry Mina sustained an ankle ligament injury in the second half of Saturday's game and will see a specialist this week to discover the full extent of the problem before undergoing treatment at Finch Farm. So Ben Godfrey around 3 months out, plus another 3 weeks to a month of getting back to that match fitness. So you're probably not going to see Ben Godfrey until, I don't know, what are we on now, August, maybe even Christmas time, around December time, maybe even not even before the World Cup, probably after the World Cup now. And Yerry Mina, with Yerry, you never know, it might be very similar. So we desperately needed a centre-back. It's as simple as that. And to go out and get a centre-back who's as experienced in this league as Conor Coady, as reliable as Conor Coady, as much of a leader as Conor Coady, for free. I know he's only on loan, but for a season for free, I think is a really, really, really smart bit of business. And dare I say, Everton seem to be doing smart business this summer. The Onana signing, I think, is a really bit of smart business. And by the way, I'm seeing a couple of people, worrying and panicking about the Onana signing. Don't panic. As far as I'm aware, he's an Everton player, and it's just the case of an announcement. It may be that the club just wanted to announce Coady first, and they're waiting for Onana. It may be that they're waiting for Garner to announce Onana at the same time. It may be just that they scheduled it in for, I don't know, tomorrow or the day. I don't know, but I wouldn't worry about it. But that's another smart bit of business. Bringing Gay back to maybe help Onana learn, I think, is smart business as well. But I'm absolutely over the moon with Conor Coady. I'm absolutely over the moon, and I think he's a great leader. He's very reliable, and he's a good defender as well. Listen, he's not the best defender in the world. No one's sitting here saying, "Oh my God, we've just signed the best centre back ever." But we were never going to be able to get the best centre back ever because we're not in that position as a football club. What Everton have needed to do for the past 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's been, probably more 4 or 5 years, is stop looking at players that 1 week are at 18 out of 10, but 9 times out of 10 are utterly garbage, and start looking at players that are consistent, that are reliable, that you know what you're going to get out of them. Because if you've got a squad of 7 or 8 players who are a consistent 8 out of 10 every week, and you know what you're going to get out of them, and then you add 2 or 3 special players on top of them who can create chances and score goals, and some, 2 or 3 really talented top quality players, you'll be a success. Because the actual foundations, the actual sort of as I said, foundation of the team is the 8 players that are consistently a 7, 8 out of 10 every week. Liverpool have got 5, 6, 7 of them in their team. Not unbelievable footballers, but they're consistent and they're reliable, and they're challenging for the league title every year. So these are the types of signings that I think are sensible, and I think Everton should be making. And as I said, I'm absolutely over the moon with Conor Coady coming in. Let's have a little look at some of the comments then. 150 people watching. If you could hit that like button, it would be amazing. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Wonderless says, has he gone the gym yet? Boss, time to lock it in, lads and ladies. I have been the gym. I trained chest today. For anybody wondering, my ankle is still falling off, so it's still extremely sore. But I did go to the gym today. Outstanding signing says Philip. Lampard's charisma saved us after a double injury. Hector says Wonderlost. Happy says, well, again, that just tells you everything you need to know about Frank Lampard, doesn't it? Conor Coady, 29-year-old man, played football for a long time, played with England, played with Wolves, captain Wolves for years, has come out and said, the conversation I had with Frank Lampard gave me goosebumps. It's one of the best conversations I've ever had. You need these types of characteristics in your manager. You need your manager to make an impression on players. Now, Frank will have made an impression because he's one of England's best players. Of course he will. But he needs to be able to talk. You know, Conor Coady very clearly says the way he talks about this football club, this is what we want. This is exactly what we need. But we need to be doing it, signing sensible players, and I think Conor Coady is very sensible. Up the top, he's brilliant signing, says Jason is right. Whamey says he wants to help the club. Don't know if anyone caught that. Yep, did. Wonderlust says, and hooray for another signing of someone who made a fool out of us when they were against us. I think that's something to be said for that. Yeah, brings leadership, says Hernandez. He absolutely does bring leadership. Him and Tarkowski bring more leadership than Everton have had since I can remember, to be honest with you, since probably before, Phil Jagielka left the football club. Wonderlust says it's like the reverse version of those anime shows where the good guys defeat a villain and that villain joins them. In this case, we get owned by them and then we recruit them to the side of good. Yeah. Gooders and Blues says this is a funny one. Firstly, yes, he's a good player, but secondly, he has always come. But it doesn't matter, mate, because Peter Reid supported them lot. A lot of Everton legends supported them lot, and most of their legends supported Everton as kids. So it doesn't matter. If he's going to come in and be unbelievable, and I don't really care who he supported as a kid. Easy Coady lad laying it on, says Whamey. His son signs with the youngsters at Finch Farm, says Philip. Come on, you Blues. Ian says, watching Conor's interview, Cam, and I'm very impressed, mate. None of the usual rubbish, straight to the point, and can't wait to see him on the pitch in Royal Blue. Think he'll be one of our best signings. I agree, mate. I agree. Jack the lad says he wore an Everton shirt as a kid. He did. I've tweeted that picture out in case anybody wants to see it, by the way. There is a picture going around social media at the moment of Conor Coady as a young lad wearing an Everton kit, and you best believe that as soon as I seen it, it was all over our Twitter account, because of course it would. Why would I not put that on our Twitter account? Amy Coady, who is Conor Coady's wife, has put an Instagram post up of all of 3 of her sons with an Everton flag. So I think it's quite fair to say that her sons are all Evertonians, considering 2 of them have got a massive smile on their faces, and another one is wearing a Spider-Man suit and maybe hasn't got that big of a smile, so maybe not. Maybe he's a little bit of a red. But 2 of them have certainly got massive smiles on their faces. Amy's post says, one door closes, another one opens. So happy to see you all smiling again. Me and the boys are so proud and so excited for you. Let's go, with 2 blue hearts. So I think it's fair to say his wife is an Evertonian as well, which is always good. Yeah, listen, I think it's a really, really, really smart signing, and I think he improves us without a shadow of a doubt. He brings consistency, as I said. He brings reliability. He brings leadership, and ultimately he's a centre back who, and in a position that we needed to bring in. Now that obviously we've lost a couple in the opening 25 seconds of the season, which is just typical Everton, isn't it? Scene says, quality signing, improvement in a 3-back on a 4-back, what we've needed for years. Chris says, I'm actually buzzing for this signing, hugely impressed, hugely impressive bit of business, absolutely. Jack the lad says, up the F and Toffees, come on you Blues. Eugene says, what would your Everton back 3 be now? Well, it'd be Mikalenko and Patterson either side, and it would be Tarkowski, Coady, and probably at the minute Holgate, but maybe Coleman will chance. I don't know. It'd be Holgate at the minute. Cody's missus is a Blue, says Paul. Yeah, centre-halves these days playing until they're about 35, so great signing. Exactly, mate, exactly. Quad says he always had. I don't think he hates Everton or anything like that. Oh, I don't think he does. Whamey says, well, if his missus is a Blue, I guess we don't have to worry about him not performing. Very, very good point, mate. Very, very good point. Listen, there's like nearly 200 people in the chat here. Could we get the likes up, please? That would be amazing. And if you are new, please don't forget to subscribe. That would be amazing. We do need a striker. That is absolutely spot on. And hopefully when we get the Onana deal over the line and the Ghana deal over the line, that will be the next port of call for Frank Lampard. And I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be a striker. Yeah. There you go. But yeah, look, for me, massively impressed with this signing. I think it's a really, really smart bit of business. I'm really impressed with his initial interview. I think it's clear that he wants to be here. It's clear he wants to work hard. It's clear he's very happy to be here, and I think he brings something really important to Everton. At the end of the day, I know we need a striker, and I know a striker is important, and I know that's something that we've got to address, before the window shuts. But let's be honest with ourselves. We needed a centre back. We absolutely needed a centre back. It's as simple as that. The reality of the situation is when you lose two of your centre backs on the opening day of the season, and your number 4 and 5 centre back aren't very reliable, you need to go out and get one. And bringing Conor Coady in on loan for me is just a wonderful bit of business. And I might be getting a bit too ahead of myself, but I just think that's a really smart signing, and I think he'll do really well at Everton. But yeah, there you go. Conor Coady is officially an Everton player. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below if you're watching as a YouTube video. Keane says, Onana and Guy plus a striker. I have to say Kevin Thelwell and Machedi have had a fantastic window. My opinion is right. Ewan says Everton are after that Sheffield United striker. Which one? Adam says Holgate was solid when he come on against Chelsea, so him, Tarky and Coady in a back 3/5 is solid, I think. William says decent signing. Golfer says Mikalenko Patterson will play in midfield. Yeah, they'll play in the midfield, but it's also in the defence as well. Paul says 2 strikers required, therefore. Well, we definitely need at least one. We definitely need at least one. Anyway, look, we are going to leave it there then. Conor Coady is an Everton player. And for the people that weren't in the chat before, that are now in the chat, let me just read this out to you so you can go to bed with a tear in your eye. My little boy, who is 5 years old, trains here at Finch Farm every week. He loves Everton. He loves everything about the football club. He was running up and down the back room when I told him I was signing. It's a proud day for my family. There you go. If you weren't already happy with the signing and in tears, you're defo in tears now, aren't you? Let's be perfectly honest. Anyway, massive thank you all for watching. We will be back tomorrow with, hopefully, another signing announcement. Hopefully we get the announcement of Amadou Onana. But if not, then we'll definitely be back with the game review to Everton's 1-0 defeat to Chelsea at the weekend. So, yeah. Big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed this one, please hit that like button. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below. Massive thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments as well. Really appreciate it. Massive thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Up the Toffees. See you after.